Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with another food video. It's lunchtime, so I'm going to call my favorite restaurant, order some more food, menú del día. Hopefully we'll get some different meals to the ones that we had the other day. And I'm going to sit down here, go through the food, have a bit of a chat while I enjoy my meal today. So hope you enjoy the video. Now, as I said, first thing I have to do is call the restaurant.
Hola, buenos
Hola,
días.
hola, ¿qué tal? Buenos días. Es que, mira, quiero pedir un menú del día para llevar. ¿Puede ser?
Sí, un segundo. Vale, dime.
¿Qué tenéis?
De primero tenemos arroz caldoso de pulpo y berberechos, alcachofas salteadas con jamón y huevo, y ensalada con queso crujiente y naranja.
Vale, alcachofas.
Y de segundo hay salteado de chuleta, lasaña de pollo y espinacas, gallo a la plancha y contramuslo a la parrilla.
Vale, salteado de chuleta.
Vale, ¿te digo postres?
Sí.
Hojaldre, mil hojas, tarta de queso, pudding, tarta de la abuela, yogur y helado.
Tarta de queso.
Vale, ¿a qué hora más o menos va a venir?
¿Puede ser sobre la 1:30, unos 20 minutos?
Vale, perfecto.
Gracias, hasta luego, chao.
Adiós.
Okay, so there we go. That was easy. Now the only thing I have to do is go down to the restaurant because as we know, this place doesn't deliver. Pick the food up and bring it back here. So let's go. Now, the food is here because I've gone down to the restaurant to pick it up. This restaurant doesn't deliver. Somebody asked the other day why that was the case. Can't you order the food on a food app? And the basic answer is no. This restaurant does not have an association with any of the food apps, whether it be Glovo, Just Eat, Uber Eats. This restaurant doesn't, so you have to go down there and pick it up yourself. And a characteristic of the food apps is that a lot of the apps only have fast food restaurants on them. So these traditional restaurants are not normally on the food apps, but that's a story for another day. Now, the food. The first course, second course, dessert. This is artichokes, I think mixed with ham and also with an egg that I can see here on top of the artichokes. The second course is a salteado de carne, which is like a wok-style meat dish with a few vegetables thrown in there as well. And the third dessert is cheesecake, typical cheesecake that you would get in any restaurant on any given day here in Spain. Now, bread included as well. I've got it on a plate because, as we know, somebody picked me up on that one time. And they threw in a can of Fanta as well, but I'm not interested in the Fanta because with the menú del día, you drink wine, whether it be red, white, rosé. A glass of wine always goes down well with a menu. And the wine today, Protos Ribera del Duero, as we can see here, Roble 2020. So it's only a couple of years old, going into its third year, this wine. It's not a crianza, it's not a reserva. It's just a Roble oak-barreled wine. But this brand of wine, Protos, very, very good, and I'll explain more about the wine as I go through the meal. So let's get straight into the food today, starting with the starter or first course, artichokes with a poached egg on top here and also with a little bit of ham in there as well. So I'm just going to try and get this out of the container into the plate. There we go. And I'll get the plastic container out of the way. I'll get all of the ham and a little bit of juice in there as well. Put the serving spoon over here. And let's get stuck in to these artichokes. In Spanish, alcachofa. So what we've got here is alcachofas salteados con jamón, con un huevo pochado encima, or maybe it's huevo frito, I'm not sure, but a nice egg on top. And I don't think these are fresh artichokes. I think they come from a tin or a jar, but they look nice. So I'm going to dig in. Let's see. And I will say that here in Spain, they do artichokes very well, in my opinion. They have been lightly sautéed in olive oil with the ham, of course. A little bit of salt, well seasoned, very tasty. They're tender artichokes, important to get tender artichokes because we know the outside of the artichoke can be a little bit hard and a little bit difficult to chew. These are very soft and a treat to eat. And with the egg here, also a great touch in my opinion. Let's try another one. Now I'm just going to break the egg up. As we can see here, the yolk is not runny, which is important given the recent salmonella problems that Spain, or one restaurant in Madrid, has had. with salmonella and salmonella poisoning. Some 110 people, I think, came down with salmonella as a result of eating dodgy tortilla de patatas because the egg was too runny. But the egg here is nice and firm, not runny, just the way I like it with this type of dish. You could get a little bit runnier, I suppose, but I'm not complaining about the hardness of the egg. So I'm going to dig in with the egg, and it goes down well, as I said, with that ham, Spanish ham, quite hard, and also the artichokes, which, as I said, are very tender, very soft, and very easy to eat, and when the perfect seasoning, a great first course in my opinion. Another bite. I have chosen well today. On the menu today, there was another rice dish. I had a rice dish last week. It was similar to the one that I had last week, so I didn't want to order that one again. So I went for something different, and artichokes, as I said, I think I have acertado. I think I have chosen correctly with this dish. And I'll just dig into a little bit more, because as I said, I'm hungry and it's a tasty dish. Now, the wine today, another red, as you can see, Protos. This is a very famous winery here in Spain, Protos. It's in the province of Valladolid, in a town called Peñafiel, and you'll see this wine in basically every shop, every supermarket here in Spain. It's a very common wine, but it's a very good wine in my opinion. €9 a bottle. It ranges between $8.50, $9.50, sometimes $10 a bottle. It is a strong wine, 14% alcohol, similar to the one that we had last week. So similar styles, but the one last week was Rioja. This one is Ribera del Duero, and it follows that Douro River through the province of Valladolid in the north of Spain. I went there a couple of years ago, and I did see this winery. So let's try this wine. Yeah, another wine you can't go wrong with this brand, in my opinion. So if you see it in the supermarket and you've got a spare €9 in your pocket and you're looking for a decent bottle of wine, Protos, can't go wrong. It's always a good drop. Now, I'm just going to finish this one off. Now, I'll just get a piece of bread to help me finish what's left on the plate. This comes in handy, a piece of bread, not only to mop up, but help get these things onto the fork. Dip the bread in what remains of the juice, and away you go. And I can't stress how important it is to get decent bread with a menu. Not this cheap rubbish that they tend to give you nowadays. Find a restaurant that gives decent quality bread like this one here. Now, first course is out of the way. So let's get rid of that plate. Second course, let's have a look at what we got here today. Salteado de, I think it was ternera. So I'm going to put this on the plate. Let me get my serving spoon. On the plate we go. So I think we've got an Asian-inspired dish here, I would say, because from what I can see, we've got sautéed beef, we've got red pepper or red capsicum, we've got eggplant, we've got green pepper or green capsicum, as we say in Australia, we've got onion, we've got celery, which I haven't seen in one of these dishes for a long time, and we've also got sesame seeds. And I'm going to say, although I haven't tried it yet, I'm going to say that it has been cooked in a salsa de soja, or a soy sauce, if you like. So salteado de ternera, I think it was, with verduras, different types of vegetables, capsicum, as I said, eggplant, onion, and celery. So let's tuck in. Now, it might be a little bit cold because it's been sitting there for a little while. Indeed it is. So like last week, I'm just going to go and heat it up. Now, back again, the food is hot. I went through what's in the dish before. I think this is ternera or beef. I'm pretty sure that it is. And in general, I wouldn't say that Spain is the best country in the world to try Asian-inspired dishes. I don't think many people know how to cook true, authentic Asian dishes, especially when you come from a country like Australia, which has lots of variety when it comes to Asian food. Here in Spain, that's still lacking. Thai restaurants you can find, but they're not as frequent as in some other countries. And of course, sometimes the food leaves a little bit to be desired. And I'm sure that this dish is nice, but it won't be a true, authentic Asian dish in my opinion. But let's tuck in and see. The meat is tender. That's a pro. I'm not sure whether it's beef or pork. I can't tell, to be honest. It could be pork, it could be beef. It has a very strong soy sauce flavor, which means that I can't distinguish the type of meat that it is. But I think she said chuletón or solomillo. I can't remember what she said exactly, but it's either beef or pork. I'm going to hope that it's beef, but it could be pork. But I'll find out afterwards. The vegetables, let's have a look. The red pepper or the capsicum, let's see. Also well cooked. This one here, eggplant, I think. Let's have a look. A little bit hard. And I don't think the flavour matches this dish. But that's just my opinion. Green pepper. Nice. Celery. Again, I personally wouldn't have put celery or eggplant in this dish. But apart from that, it's not bad. And again, it's something different. You're not eating this every day here in Spain, so to get some vegetables, some meat into the diet is positive. So let's have another bite. What I will say is that the dish is lacking some Asian flavours. Okay, you've got soy sauce, but that's about it. And if you go to one of these online sites like Marian's Home Cooking or Marian's Asian Cooking or whatever it's called, and she does these amazing Asian dishes, it's really simple to get some good flavoured sauces to mix into these stir fries with a little bit of ketchup, for example, different types of Asian sauces, and not only soy. So that would be my biggest criticism of this dish. But hey, I'm not here to criticise, I'm here to eat. Wash it down with this fantastic glass of Proto's red wine. Can't go wrong. Now, I've finished the first and the second, so I'm going to get this out of the way. And it brings me to the dessert. Now, I'm going to wait a couple of minutes because I'm quite full from that stir fry still. And another thing I'll mention is that the Spanish use the word comer for lunch. In English, we say to have breakfast, to have lunch, to have dinner. In Spain, it's desayunar, comer, cenar. You will hear the word almorzar, but it's not commonly used in this part of Spain. Almuerzo normally is a little bit earlier, but when they sit down and have their main meal, the verb they will use is comer. Voy a comer. Now, on the subject of comer, it's time to finish this meal off with the dessert. And as we can see here, cheesecake. Now, you might be thinking that cheesecake is not very Spanish, but Spanish people love a tarte de queso. And there are some parts of the country that make fantastic cheesecakes. The north of Spain, for example, very, very nice cheesecakes in Asturias, for example. Famous for their cheesecake. Baked cheesecakes normally, different to the one that we've got here. This looks like a creamy cheesecake. It's got a biscuit base and it's got some type of jam on top, maybe a blueberry jam or something like that. Before I tuck into the dessert, I'm just going to have another sip of my wine because I enjoy a glass of wine with my meal, especially if it's a nice wine like this one here, Protos. Now, let's tuck into the dessert. Creamy, soft, the biscuit looks tasty. Let's see. Very creamy, very milky. And this is a dessert that my son would describe as pura leche, pure milk, because it is very creamy, very milky, and an excellent cheesecake in my opinion. Although there's not a very strong cheese taste, the creaminess of this cheesecake makes up for it. The sweetness of that jam, and of course the crunch. Well, it's not so crunchy anymore, but the biscuit base is also very, very nice. And this is the perfect way to finish a meal like this one with a nice dessert. Now, I'm not going to finish that off because after eating those two other dishes, I'm quite full. I've had half of this cheesecake. That's enough for me. But let's summarize what we have had today. So the first dish, alcachofas salteados con jamón, also with huevo escalfado on top, I think you would call that. I think it was a poached egg, not fried. Very tasty, well cooked, and I enjoyed the first course. The second course, the salteado de verduras con carne, very well cooked meat, very tender meat, lacked in vegetables in my opinion. There are only 2 or 3 types of vegetables, and as I said, I personally wouldn't have put eggplant in that dish. And also it lacked that true Asian flavor. Yeah, it had soy sauce, it was cooked in a soy sauce, but it didn't have those other Asian flavors that I would expect with a dish if you ordered it, let's say, in another country, for example, Australia. The cheesecake, very tasty, very creamy. I recommend that you try cheesecakes in this country. Most restaurants do a decent cheesecake. And then when it comes to the wine, again, an outstanding wine today for under 10 euros. Between $8.50 and $9.50, depending on where you buy it. Protos is the name from Valladolid in the Ribera del Duero area, a famous wine growing area in this country, and for that price, you can't go wrong with this wine. Now I'm going to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Let us know what you think of the food that I have tried today. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego. Buen provecho. GoPro, stop recording.